All right, guys, so Total Archery Challenge just started their 4-month tour. They're going to be going all throughout the country. If you guys have never been to that event, you definitely need to check it out. Find the one that's closest to you and try to get registered. This weekend, they're up in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. So that was a reminder for me that it's time to build some of the arrows for Amy Jo and I. For our trip to TAC, we're going to be shooting the Utah event for sure. If we can get away from the farm, we're going to be doing some other ones. But either way, wanted to bring y'all along for building some of these arrows. So these are the Easton Axis 4mm. They're their long range 250 spine. These are the arrows that I shoot out of my Hoyt RX-7 Ultra. Already put some wraps on here and they are cut, but everything else I'm going to be doing with you guys watching. So to start, we're going to be doing the inserts. These are just the 50 grain inserts that come from Easton for these arrows. I use this AAE Max Impact. This is their adhesive for inserts specifically. So with these, just make sure that you get enough on the entire part of the insert that's going to be going inside that arrow. So with the arrow shaft, I've already taken a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol, cleaned out the inside. Super important to get any of the carbon dust out of the inside of that arrow so that you get as good a bond as possible. So you can see we got all the Max Impact on there. And then as it goes into that shaft, just work it back and forth so that you get a solid amount of the glue all throughout the inside. And then with that, press it all the way in. Make sure you get a really good seal. From there, I like to keep a stack of paper towels with me right here on the desk whenever I'm building arrows. You're constantly going to be cleaning, and it's just the easiest way to not be fumbling around with all your stuff. And buy the big bottle of the rubbing alcohol because you're going to go through it whenever you're building arrows. So got that pressed down. All the excess glue is cleaned off. So now it's time to fletch them. Previously, I was using this is from Arizona Rim Country. This is their 4-degree offset for the vanes. Wanted to switch to a helical, and this had been back ordered for months. For my bows and for Amy Jo's bows, we shoot them without any fletchings on them, about 2 feet away from a target, and you put a little mark right here by the nock, and what that does is you shoot your arrow and you're able to see out of the bow which way your arrow's clocking. Some clock to the right, some clock to the left. We shoot Hoyts, and every one of our bows have always just clocked to the left. So fortunately, we're not having to buy multiple fletching jigs. So for us, as long as it's to the left, we're set. So with this one, this is their Max Helical. And I'll show you after we get these vanes on there, but it's so much more drastic of, that left turning helical bend that you get with the vanes as compared to the 4-degree offset. They claim that it's going to shoot tighter groups. They claim that it has less drop, even out to 100. I believe it's 6 or 8 yards less drop with the Max Helical. So I've got a couple of them that I've already fletched up on my other arrows. For this one in particular, I'm gonna, have 4 of them. That way I'm able to shoot groups, shoot them out at distance, and then compare them to the other arrows with same exact components, but then that 4-degree offset vane configuration that we do. So since these are for TAC, last year registration, they gave you like a little package of the AAE Max Stealth Vanes, and on one side it's got Total Archery Challenge on it. So for the sake of using these, I'm going to put these onto our TAC arrows for this year. So pretty simple. You place all 3 of those vanes right in there. Then, first step's primer pen. So if you're using the Max Stealths, you do need to prime them. If you're using the hybrids, they come already primed. Those are basically the same exact vane. Amy Jo and I run both of them, but for these in particular, they do require that primer pen. So, shoots a bunch out of there. So just one quick little run down each of the vanes. And then this one's gonna be ready for the glue. So, any of these glues, I've had luck with all of them. This is the one from Bohning, they call it Fletch Fuse. So what I like to do is do about 8 or 9 little dots all the way down so that you don't end up with too much. And then once you get down there, take the tip of this glue bottle and just clear it all up so you fill in that entire cavity all the way. And then you're going to repeat that for all 3 of these vanes. Just make them consistent. Don't use too much glue. A little with this really does go a long way. So now that we got all these glued, just want to make sure that all of them are still slotted exactly where they need to be. They hadn't switched, they haven't shifted. And then what you do is you're going to lift this base and twist it, and then the arms that hold all those vanes are going to close together. They give you this cap, run that right over it, and then that's going to lock into place, and it's going to be about a minute. That way you can guarantee that it's going to bond all the way, all the vanes, none of them are going to come up, no issues. So while that one's going, I'm going to go ahead and do the inserts for these other 3. So y'all bear with me on this. And then we'll get these glued in. And these 3 other arrows, they'll all be ready for their vanes. 45 more seconds on that one. And like I said, with these, I already took a Q-tip and alcohol and cleaned out the inside of the shaft to get all of the carbon residue and dust out of there from sawing them, cutting them down to size. And work all that there to get the glue all the way in. And then press it real hard. Again, keeping all the rubbing alcohol and paper towels right there makes it super easy to keep all this stuff cleaned. So make sure that half in, half out insert stays where it needs to. Give it a wrap all the way down with the rubbing alcohol, and then that is glued in and ready. So we'll let this one dry, knock out these other 2, and then we'll pull this arrow out of the fletching jig and show you just how much of a helical this new jig does for these arrows. So the next set we're going to be doing is I'm going to be building some, what are they? Victory Rip TKOs. So I've got those for my VTM 34. These Easton Axis long ranges are for my RX-7 Ultra. Loved them last season. They fly incredibly well. I was planning on running them in the VTM, and then realized that I had this brand new set of a dozen Victory Rip TKOs. I was like, well, I'm not going to let them go to waste. So I'm going to be building the rips for the VTM 34, and its difference is the main difference is it's a 5mm arrow versus a 4. So having all spring and summer, I'll be able to test those. And then I'm going to have to make a decision and see which bow I'm going to be hunting Colorado with. If y'all watch some of the other videos, I was really fortunate and I won the VTM 34 Cam Haynes edition from Dan over at Elk Shape and Cam Haynes. They did a contest in December. I was fortunate enough to win that. So now I've got both of Hoyt's 2023 flagship bows. Both 34-inch axle to axle. They're both 83 pounds. Obviously, my draw length on both of them is exactly the same at 31. Accessories are the same. I've got the Option Archery, Option 6 sight. And if y'all haven't tried that out, first off, go check out the video that we have posted. It's like a 2-minute gear review video that we did for that sight. It's incredible, especially if you're hunting out west. It's a fixed pin and a multi-pin setup that's all in one. There's no other sight like it on the market, so I really like it. So I've got that back bar and then a equivalizer also from Option Archery. So the next video that I'm planning on doing, it's taking me a little bit to figure out exactly what we're going to storyboard it with, but it's going to be a comparison video for both of those bows. There have been a couple questions that I got from people, knowing that I've got both of them and they're trying to make a decision as to what bow they're going to buy for this season. They want a Hoyt, but is the $400 difference between the VTM and the RX-7, is it worth it? Is the weight difference worth it? Do they shoot any different? Is the draw cycle any different? They have the same cam systems, but I've already noticed some differences with them. Really like both. With that said, my VTM, I just got the 200th shot through it today. So it's going to be going back up to the shop. We're going to shoot it through paper, get it tuned, and then from there I'll be able to, shoot it out to 90, 100, get a tape on there, and then really do a side-by-side comparison of both of them. So I'm excited to do that one, and I'm just as excited about you guys would be about seeing the results of that, because I don't even know which bow I'm going to hunt with this year. They're both incredible. So getting them both finished up and set up, and then comparing them to one another, that's going to be a lot of fun. So grab a Q-tip. I like to just take this and run the Q-tip down the sides. I always try to make sure I didn't use any excess glue, but you always want to be sure that you don't have any there. Then take the glue bottle, and I just call it tip and tail. Do a little dot at the front and the back of each of the vanes. It's just going to make sure that they are as secure as possible, especially rotating and flying through the air. So once I get this last dab on there, I'm going to show you all this helical. You can see the difference. All right. That right there is what they call their max helical. Again, our bows are shooting to where they're clocking the arrows out off the string to the left. So this is a max left helical, which means it's gonna steer that arrow even harder in the direction that it's already going. We'll see as far as, difference in groups, difference in, is there going to be any parachuting? Is it going to be able to fly at distance? What's the trajectory going to be like? So all these things I'm really excited to see. But this right here, this arrow comes out to 510 grains. It's on the heavier side than what a lot of people shoot, I know, but I've, between my draw length at 31 and then draw weight at 83 pounds, this flies so flat that you really would have no idea that it's as heavy of an arrow as it is. So it's a 4mm, so I am getting pretty good amount of weight on it. Playing around with any more, I think it would just end up being way too heavy. So at this point, I'm going to stay with, you know, I've got the 50 grain insert, 100 grain broadheads is what I'm shooting. This year, again, I'm shooting the Sever 2.0s. Really like those. Had great success with them last year on mule deer and whitetail. I will be shooting those, you know, for our elk and bear tags as well. I'm just going to have a full quiver of the Severs, unless I mix in one or two of one of our friends is trying to convince me to grab some Iron Wills. They're pricey, but I know they are the best quality when it comes to a fixed blade. So I might throw a couple of those on these, see how they fly, and if I like how they're flying, you know, I'll have some confidence in them as well. So from here, I'm gonna finish fletching up these other ones, but wanted to show y'all this. If you are fletching your own arrows, building your own arrows, check out this company. You may already know about them, but it's Arizona Rim Country. This is their Mini Max. They've and this is the Max Helical to the left. So give them a shot. If you guys have any questions, drop them down below. See you later.